Hi, I'm Bron. Thanks for taking the time to familiarise yourself with Autism Spectrum Disorder, also known as ASD, which affects many families in our communities. From personal experience, I can tell you that being a parent of a child with ASD can be very rewarding. My son Gregory is now 26. We celebrate every little achievement because our kids need to work so much harder. We invite you to put yourself in our shoes as we show you the everyday issues we deal with.
When I first found out about Marcus being autistic, I was in complete denial. In fact, I didn't even want the word used in the house. But the more I've come to understand autism, the greater understanding I have, the more I've accepted it. And now, in fact, I wouldn't want him any other way.
Our son views and experiences the world differently, and once you understand that, that opens you up to a whole new world, new experiences and new interests.
Autism Spectrum Disorder, ASD, is a neurodevelopmental condition. This means for these children their wiring is slightly different, leading to differences in how they socialise with other children, communicate, their play and sensory issues. Autism is a lifelong condition that will change as the children grow older. Asperger disorder and autism are both examples of autism spectrum disorder.
Hi, I have Asperger syndrome. It's a type of autism. Sometimes I do things that seem strange to you, but to me they are normal, and it is how I am.
His brain is wired differently to ours, not odd or wrong, just different.
He thrives on routine, so we try to keep things the same.
He has a wonderful sense of humour and a willingness to learn.
Yeah, it's wonderful that he's able to do things with his brother in the community.
It can also be hard for people in the community to know how to support, accept and include those with ASD if they are unsure of what autism is or how it affects the person in their family.
It's hard for us to go anywhere in public because Michael looks normal but he doesn't act normally. I hear comments from people saying that I'm a bad caregiver because I can't control him. A kind word or an offer of help would make a huge difference to us.
Waiting anywhere is hard for my son. He doesn't like unfamiliar places or people. When he's stressed, he makes loud noises or hurts himself. It's his way of saying, I don't want to be here. If we can wait in an empty room, it helps a lot.
It's hard for people with ASD to cope in our world and for the families and carers that support them. Raising children with ASD or caring for adults with ASD requires patience, perseverance and a sense of humour. Your understanding and support can make a big difference in our lives.
People with autism sometimes behave in a different way. When they are anxious, they do things to make themselves feel better. They're not being naughty, it's just how they are.
Kids with ASD are so interesting. Most don't like shoes because of their sensory issues. Recently, when I wasn't concentrating, I got kicked by a very stressed out boy. I didn't take it personally because I knew how distressed he was. He's a really cool kid.
Haircuts used to be a nightmare until we realised that Josh was scared of the scissors, scared of the comb, scared of the cape and even scared of the water squirter. So we made a photo book about getting a haircut and we practiced at home. Now haircuts are much easier. Visual aids are useful for children with ASD. They include things such as an independent schedule, school timetable, toileting sequence and communication sequences.
Many people with ASD have sensory problems. They hear, see, touch, smell and taste in a different way. They often have sensory overload. It's like when you have a headache and the pain is overwhelming and you find it hard to concentrate on anything else.
An example is Thomas can't eat food out of a tin can because the tin overrides the taste of food. And if given the preference of using plastic utensils versus stainless steel or whatever, he will choose the plastic because the others have a taste.
Even my taste buds are more sharper than when I'm no. I'm no chef because whatever food I like, it could be something everyone else really don't like at all. Tastes terrible to them, decent for me.
My son doesn't look at someone when they're speaking to him. He's not being rude, he cannot look and listen at the same time.
New activities or situations create stress and anxiety for my brother.
I've known her for over 20 years, and the social isolation has really affected her. And as a close friend, I've noticed that it affects her more and more each year. She needs friends, and the more she needs friends, the more the friends seem to fade away. And friends really need to find a creative way of communicating with her and the family so that she doesn't feel so isolated.
When we meet new people, we have to assess how accepting they're going to be of Matt's behaviour before we take him to visit.
The big problem for us is the lack of money. There's just not enough of it. I can't work because I don't get enough sleep, and I have to pick him up from school whenever he has a meltdown. My husband, he just has to come to our help when we go for appointments. I mean, you just need to.
Whanau often have to cope with behaviour that is destructive or self-injurious. The person with autism can be very demanding. This often leads to the whanau being isolated, broke and exhausted. This can be very difficult for the siblings.
My little brother with autism can be a pain sometimes, but we do have fun.
I play rugby with my brother. He catches the ball, but then he likes to throw it away.
My little cousin likes to play with Lego. He loves it when I join in.
As parents of children with ASD, we have to do more to keep our children safe, and you can help us with this.
In case you need our help one day, keep an up-to-date profile of your child handy, especially if your child runs away or goes missing. We need to know the height, weight, hair colour, ethnicity, distinguishing features, and special interests or places that they may go to, words that they may respond to, and things our officers need to know which will help when approaching your child.
Make sure you get out alive with a home escape plan and ensure that you have a safe meeting place outside. If you have a family member with ASD, there are some extra actions you need to consider. For example, if they are likely to run away, how will you keep them safe outside? Or, if they are unwilling to leave the home, how will you get them to safety?
We've developed a patient's passport, which we send out with a pre-admission letter. This tells us about the patient's special needs, how they communicate, signs of distress and ways of calming them.
If when the parents arrive they can advise us of any special needs and tell us about levels of communication and behaviour, and if the child can wear a rash shirt, it makes them easier to identify.
Children with ASD are more susceptible to dental problems. They have sensory issues which affect their daily dental routines and their dental treatment. Many of them require a general anaesthetic for dental treatment to be carried out. Dental visits can be made less stressful by allowing extra time and planning ahead.
Despite the challenges experienced by people with ASD and their families, they can and do make a valuable contribution to society.
I've worked with many children over the years who have autism and supported them and their whanau. And for the child and the whanau, it can be a lot of hard work and a lot of challenges. But if you look past the autism and you see the child, you'll see what beautiful qualities, strengths and skills and unique person that they are.
But almost everybody I've ever met who's on the autism spectrum is that they have a really different perspective to most people. If you said something to 100 people, you would probably get a really similar response, but if you say it to someone with ASD, you often get these really quirky, offbeat answers.
People with ASD are part of our families and they are part of our communities as well. You can't change that our children have ASD, but you can lessen the impact. All this takes is your acceptance, tolerance, patience, inclusion, and your kindness.